Hi there, Mike Holmes at reachkeep.com and 5 things for better Sundays. One of the best things that you can do to have a great Sunday is have all your people on the same page. When you get people together with your values and everyone's headed the right way, it is a great thing. One of the ways to tell if you're having a great Sunday is sometimes to look at when you're having bad Sundays. And to have a really poor Sunday, lots of times what has happened is there's friction amongst the people. Friction amongst the staff or someone in the church that's not quite on the same page, and that is not a good thing. I remember I was out going door to door once visiting some people, inviting folks to church for maybe it was Vacation Bible School. I don't really remember exactly what it was. And I was with my partner. We were walking up the kind of a sidewalk, and we heard people in the house arguing and fussing and fuming. I mean, it was loud. It was like, whoa, something's going on there. You know what we did? We stopped, turned around, went to the next door. No one wants to interrupt a family fight. You're not welcome there. And one of the best ways to make sure that you don't have family fights and things is to make sure that all your church people are on the same page. I like to call it the core value parade. In other words, taking your core values and getting them up front and center where everybody can see and know what you are all about. And there are many ways to do this, but let me just give you a few in the few moments that we have here. Number one is you're going to need to identify what your church's core values are. I'm not going to tell you what ours are. That's not the scope of this. But you identify what those are, and the first place that you put those out front and center is in your sermon. When you're teaching people, you constantly remind them that this is a value that we have, and this is why I'm teaching on this topic. This is something that's very important to us, and this is why I've chosen this text. And this is something that you're going to see more and more as you come here and hear me teach. My core values, or our core values, are going to be put out here in these messages. So constantly get your core values out in your sermons. That's number one. Another place that you can put your core values out on parade is in your bulletin. You know, bulletins traditionally have kind of a list of order of service and some things like that. We do sermon notes in ours always, which I'd love to show you sometime. But having your core values printed out and saying, this is what we believe here, and every week or every other week have one of your core values on display. And it doesn't have to be tied to an announcement or anything else. It could be, but just having it in your bulletin is a great way to do that, to get those values out there on parade. Another way that you can get those values out there is just to have them in visuals that are either on slides, if you have slides, or have them on the walls. We have some certain things that are printed. We have them on our walls, so when people walk around for the service, they get a chance to kind of see what those values are, and they can kind of read it. It's got a couple scriptures that have to do with it. And let me take a moment here and say these, when you do your values and have them out on parade, these are not doctrinal statements, which is a totally different thing. They would be doctrinal, okay, but they're not your doctrinal statements that are out there that are lengthy. They're short and simple and easy to recognize in just a few simple words. Another place to have your values, the fourth thing here, the first one was sermon, the second one was, I blew that. Your first one is your sermon, your second one is your bulletin, third one is just on some visuals and like on slides or on your walls. But the fourth one is to have your values kind of completely tied into all the things that you can do. You know, you can determine a person's value by what they have on their calendar, what they pay for, and what they talk about. Those three things. So your budget would support your core values, your calendar items and your activities would support your core values, and then your announcements that you make regularly would support your core values. And so putting all of those together is what really helps get your core values out there and in front of everybody. The last way that we teach core values, and we make sure that we get this right at the onset, is we have a membership class where we teach our core values in our membership class. Before you ever become a member, you learn about our values. So one of the most important things to remember about the core values is that they need to be constantly put out in front of your people. To keep from having dissension, to keep from having people kind of operating off on the side, doing something sideways, a little sideways energy there, you get those values out there constantly through these different methods we've mentioned, and I'll tell you what it's going to do. It is going to help your church to have better Sundays. If you'd like to learn more about some things, click on the subscribe button here. If you'd like to follow some of the other links that are here that'll take you off and help you to reach some more young families. Thanks for listening. This is Mike Holmes here, 5 minutes to better Sundays. And this is Mike Holmes here. Finish that up. And this is Mike Holmes here at 5 minutes to better church services. That's not what it's supposed to be. This is Mike Holmes here at 5 minutes for better Sundays. So, this is Mike Holmes showing you how to have. This is Mike Holmes showing you how to have a core value parade.